Zhongyang, the Center of Harmony, by Zise. What heaven gives to people is called human nature. Following our nature is called the way. Cultivating the way is called education. The way cannot be separated from us for a moment. What can be separated is not the way. Therefore the best people look into their hearts and watch the unseen and apprehend the unheard. Nothing is more visible than what is hidden, and nothing more manifest than what is subtle. Therefore the best people look into their hearts when they are alone. Before the feelings of pleasure, anger, sorrow, and joy are aroused, one is in what is called the center. When these feelings are aroused, and they each attain due measure and degree, it is called harmony. The center is the supreme foundation of the universe, and harmony is its universal expression. When the center and harmony are fully realized, then order and happiness abound throughout heaven and earth, and all things are nourished and flourish. Confucius said, "The best people live in the center of harmony. The worst people act contrary to the center of harmony. The best people live harmoniously because they always maintain the center. The worst people act contrary to harmony because they do not watch in their hearts the center." Confucius said, "Perfect is the center of harmony. For a long time, few people have been able to follow it." Confucius said, "I know why the way is not pursued. The smart ones go beyond it, and the stupid ones do not come up to it. I know why the way is not understood. The worthy go beyond it, and the unworthy do not come up to it. There is nobody who does not eat and drink, but there are few who really appreciate flavors." Confucius said, "Alas, how the way is not being pursued." Confucius said, "Shun was indeed a man of great wisdom. He loved to question people and examine their simple answers. He passed over the bad and displayed the good. He shunned their extremes, found the center, and applied it in his dealing with the people. In this way he became Shun." Confucius said, "Everyone says, 'I am wise,' but they are driven forward into nets, caught in traps or pitfalls, and they do not know how to escape. Everyone says, 'I am wise,' but choosing to pursue the center, they are not able to keep to it for a full month." Confucius said, "Hui was a man who chose to pursue the center, and when he found something that was good, he embraced it as if wearing it on his breast, and he never lost it." Confucius said, "The world, states, and families can be put in order. Honors and rewards can be declined. Bare, naked weapons can be trampled upon, but still the center of harmony is not being followed." Zulu asked about energy. Confucius said, "Do you mean the energy of the South, the energy of the North, or the energy you should cultivate yourself? To be kind and gentle in teaching others and not to revenge unreasonable conduct is the energy of Southern people. The best people practice it. To lie under arms and meet death without regret is the energy of Northern people. The brave people practice it. Thus the best people maintain harmony and strength. How firm are they in their energy! They stand in the middle without leaning to either side. How firm are they in their energy! When the way prevails in the government, they do not change their private life. How firm are they in their energy! When the way does not prevail in the government, they do not change even though they may die. How firm are they in their energy!" Confucius said, "There are people who seek mysteries and practice wonders in order to be remembered in future ages, but this is what I will not do. There are good people who proceed in accord with the way, but abandon it when they have gone halfway. However, I could never give it up. There are good people in accord with the center of harmony who retire from the world, are unknown to their age, and have no regret. It is only the wise who can do this." The way of the best people functions everywhere, yet it is hidden. Men and women of simple intelligence can find its knowledge. Yet in its ultimate extent, even the wise do not know it all. Men and women of simple intelligence can practice it. Yet in its ultimate extent, even the wise do not practice it all. Great as heaven and earth are, people still find something in them to criticize. Thus, when the best people speak of the greatness of the way, nothing in the world could contain it. When they speak of its minuteness, nothing in the world could split it. The Book of Odes says, "The hawk flies up to heaven, the fish dive down to the deep." This means it is clearly seen above and below. The way of the best people finds its simple beginnings in the relationship between a man and a woman, but in its ultimate extent, it can be clearly seen illuminating heaven and earth. Confucius said, "The way is not far from people. If a person pursues a way which removes him from people, this course cannot be considered the way." The Book of Odes says, "When hewing an axe handle, hew an axe handle. The pattern is not far off." If we grasp an axe handle to hew another axe handle and look skeptically from one to the other, we may still think the pattern is far away. Thus, the best people govern people according to human nature, and as soon as they become correct, they stop. Conscientiousness and reciprocity are not far from the way. What you do not wish others to do to you, do not do to them. There are 4 things in the way of the best people, none of which have I as yet attained. To serve my father as I would have my son serve me, that I have not attained. To serve my ruler as I would have my ministers serve me, that I have not attained. To serve my older brother as I would have my younger brother serve me, that I have not attained. To be first to treat friends as I would have them treat me, that I have not attained. Earnest in practicing the virtues in everyday life, and in being careful in ordinary conversation, when there is excess, they do not allow themselves license. Their words correspond to their actions, and their actions correspond to their words. Are not the best people genuine? The best people do what is proper in their position. They do not desire to go beyond this. In a position of wealth and honor, they do what is proper to a position of wealth and honor. In a poor and humble position, they do what is proper to a poor and humble position. Situated among barbarous tribes, they do what is proper among barbarous tribes. In a position of difficulty and danger, they do what is proper in difficulty and danger. There is no situation in which they are not themselves. In a high position, they do not treat their inferiors with contempt. In a low position, they do not court the favor of their superiors. They correct themselves and seek nothing from others. They do not complain and do not resent heaven or people. Thus the best people live peacefully and calmly, waiting for their destiny, while the worst people walk in dangerous paths, hoping for good luck. Confucius said, "In archery we have something like the way of the best people. When archers miss the center of the target, they turn around and seek for the cause of their failure in themselves." The way of the best people is like a long journey. We must begin with what is near. It is like ascending a height. We must begin from the lower ground. The Book of Odes says, "Happy union with wife and children is like the music of lutes and harps. When brothers live in concord and peace, the harmony is sweet and delightful. Let your family live in concord and enjoy your wife and children." Confucius said, "How happy will parents be?" Confucius said, "How abundantly do spiritual beings display the power that belongs to them. We look for them, but do not see them. We listen to them, but do not hear them. They are in all things, and there is nothing without them. They cause all people in the world to fast and purify themselves, and put on robes in order to sacrifice to them. Like the rush of overflowing water, they seem to be above and on the left and right." The Book of Odes says, "The approaches of the spirits cannot be surmised, yet they cannot be disregarded. Such are the manifestations of the subtle. Such is the impossibility of hiding the real." Confucius said, "How great was the filial piety of Shun! In virtue he was a sage. In honor he was the son of heaven. And in wealth he owned all within the four seas. Temple sacrifices were made to him, and his descendants preserved the sacrifices to him. Thus whoever has great virtue will certainly attain high position, great wealth, fame, and lasting life. For heaven in the production of things is sure to be bountiful to them according to their qualities. Thus the tree that is well taken care of is nourished, while that which is about to fall is overthrown." The Book of Odes says, "The admirable, amiable prince displayed conspicuously his excellent virtue. He put his people and his officers in concord, and he received his compensation from heaven. It protected him, assisted him, and appointed him king. Heaven gave its blessings to him again and again. Therefore, whoever has great virtue will certainly receive a mandate from heaven." Confucius said, "Only King Wen was without sorrow. He had King Ji for a father and King Wu for a son. His father laid the foundation, and his son carried it on. King Wu continued the enterprise of King Tai, King Ji, and King Wen. Once he buckled on his armor, the world became his. He did not lose his personal reputation in the world. In honor he was the son of heaven, and in wealth he owned all within the four seas. Temple sacrifices were made to him, and his descendants preserved the sacrifices to him. King Wu received heaven's mandate to rule in his old age. Duke Zhou completed the virtuous course of King Wen and King Wu. He carried up the title of king to Tai and Ji, and sacrificed to all the former dukes with royal ceremonies. He extended this rule to the princes, officers, and common people. If the father was a great officer and the son a minor officer, when the father died, he was buried with the right of a great officer, but afterwards sacrificed to with the right of a minor officer. If the father was a minor officer and the son a great officer, then the father was buried with the right of a minor officer, but afterwards sacrificed to with the right of a great officer. The rule for 1 year of mourning for relatives was extended to include great officers, but the rule for 3 years of mourning was extended to include the Son of Heaven. In the mourning for a father or a mother, there was no difference for the noble or the commoner. The practice was the same. Confucius said, "How influential was the filial piety of King Wu and Duke Zhou?" Filial piety is the skillful carrying out of the wishes of forefathers, and the skillful carrying forward of their undertakings. In spring and autumn they repaired their ancestral temple, displayed their ancestral vessels, exhibited the ancestral robes, and presented the appropriate offerings of the season. By means of the ritual of the ancestral temple, they distinguished the descent of the royal kindred. By ordering those present according to their rank, they distinguished the more noble and the less. By the arrangement of the services, they distinguished the talented and worthy. In the pledging ritual, the inferiors presented the cup to their superiors, so that the humble would have something to do. At the feast, honored places were given to people with white hair, so that differences in age were observed. To occupy places of their forefathers, to practice their rites, to perform their music, to reverence those whom they honored, to love those who are dear to them, to serve the dead as they were served while alive, and to serve the departed as they were served while still with us, this is the height of filial piety. By the ceremonies of sacrifices to heaven and earth, they served the Most High Lord, and by the ceremonies of the ancestral temple, they served the ancestors. Whoever understands the ceremonies of sacrifices to heaven and earth and the meaning of the seasonal sacrifices to the ancestors will govern a kingdom as easily as looking at one's palm.